Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Jackie Kwan, and I'm the co-founder of Uplifter. Today, I'm going to walk you through Uplifter LITE. If you have signed up for our Uplifter LITE products, I'm just going to give you a quick overview on how to get started with Uplifter so that you can actually start taking registrations, sell products, start taking payments, and get up and running with Uplifter. So if you've signed up for your free trial account and you're trying to figure out how do I get things running on Uplifter, sit back and watch through our demo here so that you have a sense of what to do. So once you've created your trial account, you'll have been redirected to an Uplifter site that's been created just for you. And once you've done that, it'll ask you to create your administrator account. It'll ask you for your email address, a little bit of information about yourself so that it can create your account, and then it will launch your Uplifter site and launch you into your administration pages. So here I've actually created an Uplifter LITE site. I've actually already got it mostly populated, but it will look something very similar to this, where you will see a menu very much like this and walk you through how to get started. So first things first, what you might want to do is actually get some help. So if you actually have other administrators on your team that will be helping you with setting up your Uplifter site, what you want to do is invite other administrators. And you can do that very easily and quickly by clicking on this button that says invite other administrators. You're going to want to give them full administrative access, so they have access to all the tools that you're working with here. You want to provide them with the name and their email address so that an invitation is sent to them. They'll be able to accept that invitation, and once they log in, they'll be able to see all of the different administrative tools that I'm going to show you this afternoon and be able to help you out, and your team can work away. If that person, however, has actually already created an account on your Uplifter site, you can certainly grant them administrative privileges by going to People and Accounts, Member Accounts. From here, you'll see all of the people that have actually created an account on your site. If you actually find the person who you know you'd like to provide administrative access to, you click on their member profile, and from here, you can just click and add full admin access. So here, this person already has it, but if they didn't, you'd just be able to type in here and click full admin access. This will then immediately grant them administrative access so that they can begin using Uplifter in the same way that you are and see all the different elements to power your site. From there, the first thing that you'll probably want to do is start setting up a program for registration so that you can actually begin taking registration on your site. So let's take a dive into that. So you'll be able to get to that from the dashboard where you see the link here that says make another class, or as well, under the nav menu, you'll see products and classes and classes. Now, in this case, typically you will see the word program, and this actually leads me into one of the great elements of Uplifter, and that is the very robust customization settings that you'll actually have available to you as a club. So under settings and global settings, you'll notice that from here, you're actually able to control the look and feel of your site. And one of the things that I did here was I changed the word program to the word class, because we typically, in this robotics club that I've set up, we've decided to call everything a class. So from here, I've gone to products and classes and class. So to create a class or a program, just click on the button, make another class or program. Here you will see our program edit page, and this is a standard page that you would use to actually create all of the different programs that you might have open for registration. Now, a program or a class is something that usually has a set time frame that you want people to register for. So very easily, you want to get that set up. Let's call this my first class. Let's say this class, I'm going to charge $300 for the duration of the class. Now, one of the things you'll also notice is this element called class SKU. Now, SKU is a unique stock keeping unit code that you'll use within Uplifter to identify the different things that you actually have for sale. You'll need to make sure that it's unique. What you might want to do is come up with a naming convention on your side. It's often might be considered a product code. A lot of people might consider that in accounting terms. So anything that you might want to use to uniquely identify that class. Very often, if you're working with days and times and types of classes, you might want to amalgamate a couple of different terms like when it occurs, Tuesdays 4 o'clock programming class, and make those unique for each of the classes that you create. You'll also be able to identify which category or category levels this class will be a part of. You can select one category for your class and multiple category levels. So a category level you can think of very much similar to a subcategory, as it were. In fact, I'll show you very quickly. In general, this is what the hierarchy of category levels, and programs look like within Uplifter. So right now we are creating programs, and under programs, you can have multiple category levels per program, but only one category per each program. So take a moment before you get started with Uplifter and think about all the different programs that you might offer for registration at your organization, and organize them in categories and category levels so that you know how to define those elements when you start creating that program. But right off the bat, you should be able to create your program, select a category and category level, identify what the first date of the class might be, and then the last day of the class. So right now I'm just going to pick a couple of days here. I'm going to pick March 1st to May 31st. And I'm going to say this is a class that runs Fridays at 3 p.m. Once I've done that, I will also now be able to create my class events. So click here on Add Events. I'm going to select which location my events actually will be held at. I'm going to say that this is a class that runs every Friday, and I think I said 3 p.m. So this class is going to run from 3 p.m. until 4 p.m. One element that you'll note with this little window is you might think, oh, my class only runs till 3:45, not 4 o'clock. Very easily, just begin typing in the box, and that will allow you to enter any specific time that you might have. This will then auto-generate your class schedule for the program. And you'll notice here, as you'll see that it's created one class per week. And then as well, because there's actually a holiday in my class schedule here, you'll notice that there's one class here that's skipped over because of Good Friday. We'll get into that a little bit later, but you'll see that Uplifter has already created all of your classes so that you know when it is that your participants are going to be attending your classes. From here, you could very easily just click Create to see what it looks like, but let's dive into the advanced settings. If you click on Advanced Settings, you'll be able to set your program to either public, beta, or unavailable. Public means that program or item that's open for registration or purchase on your site by anybody. So anybody who comes to your site, they'll be able to see it on the list, and they'll be able to add it to cart, and they'll be able to check out. If you select beta, this is it's kind of like a private mode. So only administrators that have access to the administrative functions within your site will be able to see those programs and be able to register for them. So if you're still testing Uplifter, or if you're just getting ready to launch for a new season, you might want to set your programs to beta so not everybody is registering until you've had a chance to take a look at how that runs on your site. From there, you're also able to define a registration start time and a registration cutoff time. Oh, sorry, I did skip. Unavailable, of course, is, I thought, very self-explanatory. If you actually have a program, but you actually want to take it off from registration completely, you can set it to unavailable. You might want to do that because you haven't quite finalized some of the settings on your site, and you just want to take it off and then put it back on later on. So going back here, you can set a time where the registration will automatically open and a time where your registration might automatically close for this class. Keep in mind that even though you have set these registration start times and end times, they will still comply to the program setting. So if it's set to beta, only administrators will still be able to register. But once you've set it to public, nobody will be able to register until this registration start time has elapsed. So let's say with this program, I don't want anybody to start registering until the 9th of March here. So you just click the 9th of March, the program will appear on your site, but nobody will be able to actually register and be added to the class until after that time has elapsed. You'll also be able to define what season this program attaches to. We'll get into that a little bit later. And you'll also be able to define a withdrawal date and an age cutoff date. An age cutoff date would be the date from which Uplifter will actually calculate the age of the participant to determine whether or not they meet the prerequisites before they're able to register for this class. We'll dive into prerequisites in a little bit as well, but let's say you want to make sure that people are at least 10 years old by the start of the class. And the start of this class is March 1st, so I've said that the age cutoff date is March 1st, and using the prerequisite tool within Uplifter, you'll be able to define the minimum or maximum ages that might apply to this program. So other options that you're also able to set is Uplifter has some robust waitlisting capabilities where Uplifter will keep track in real time how many people are registered for your programs, and you may want anybody who has waitlisted onto the program after it's become full to know what position they actually hold, sit on in the wait list. So by default, we actually display it to the user when they're actually logged into their account, but you might want to hide that information in case you want to manage that waitlist position just a little bit more specifically for particular reasons. What you'll also be able to do is specify the total number of registrants you have for a program and the total number of people you might want to allow to waitlist for the program. So this class, if you leave it blank, it will allow as many people as you would like. It'd be unlimited. But for this class, I know that my classroom will only fit 20 kids. So I'm going to set my max registration to 20. And as well, I don't want to give too many people false hope. And I'm going to set my maximum number of people I want to add themselves to the waitlist to 5. So those are a couple of registration settings you can set. Now let's dive into the payment settings that you can set for a particular program. Within Uplifter, you can automatically set up what we call as prorating. So at any point in time somebody comes to your site, for this program, they will be charged $300. If you don't have prorating set up, regardless of when it is that they actually come to the site, they will always pay $300. But let's say you actually want the price of your program to automatically reduce as time goes by. So in this case, because I have set up my class to have 12 classes and my total program is $300, Uplifter will automatically calculate what is going to happen as each class completes. So before the class starts, we will be charging $300 for the entire class. After the first class ends, which is the March 6th at 4:45, it will automatically deduct $25 from the price so that when a new member comes to actually register and they're a late registrant, they'll automatically just be charged for the number of classes that they would be registering for and attending. You have quite a bit of flexibility in order to calculate your prorating. You can actually have it calculate only every X number of events. So let's say you only want to provide that option to participants every other time your class goes on. As well, you might want to provide a minimum final event cost. So you might want to penalize people for registering late. So let's say you want to say, I want to make sure that everybody who registers late pays at least $50. And then what I want to do is take the remainder of my program costs and then divide it across the 12 programs that I have. So that gives you quite a bit of flexibility of how to actually manage that prorating. Most clubs, though, will do an even split, leave that at 0, and just charge for every class as it goes forward. You also have the ability to mark this program as tax receipt eligible, so that at the end of the year, if you actually want to use Uplifter to generate your tax receipts, it will include any registrations from this program to automatically generate into a tax receipt that parents can find within their login. And as well, what you can also do is enable payment installments. So let's say you want to give your members the option to pay on a monthly basis. So let's say on the first month or initially you want to make sure that they pay you $100, but you want to spread out the rest of the payments across 2 months. You can say the very first payment of installments will happen on April 1st, and I want to actually have that payment occur once a month. So again, lots of different flexibility in order to set up your payment installments. And not only that, you can actually set up your payment installments on a per program basis. So if you're running a number of different programs where some programs you want to allow payment installments and others you do not, you can certainly use this flexibility within Uplifter so that you can have each program calculate its installment payments uniquely, and Uplifter will automatically calculate what each of those payments are going to be as time goes on. Quite a bit of flexibility and allows you to really customize Uplifter the way that you would like. So now that we've created a program, I'm just going to click create very quickly here. So that's how we actually create a program within Uplifter, and that is a unique individual item that's available for registration within your site. Let me show you what that looks like within Uplifter. So once you've logged into your public site, and from here, when you're on the admin site, you can just, to see what it looks like on your public site, just click on the link near the top by your name, and that will take you to your public registration page. And this is what your public registration page looks like after you've created all of your programs. If the program is in beta, you'll see a little beta sign here, and that means only administrators will be able to see that once they've logged in. You'll notice here that I have a number of programs with a price crossed out. This means that prorating has started with this program. So the program actually began in September. We've gone through a number of events already, and this is the remaining cost of the prorated price of this class here. So you'll see how much it is that you're supposed to pay at that time. You might have noticed that there are a lot of different settings that you could actually set up within that program. Let's take a deeper dive into each of those different elements to see how you can customize Uplifter to do exactly what it is that you'd like to do. So first off, let's talk about facilities and locations. So under settings, you can click on facilities and locations. You'll notice within Uplifter LITE, you will be able to customize the address of the facility that you are working within. You can put all that information in so that your members can actually find that on your site. That will be displayed on the public elements of your site under the registration. And then as well, you'll be able to add as many locations as you like to that facility. So typically we think of locations as rooms or areas within your facility. So here we've got a robotics lab and a computer lab. There's nothing saying that you can't actually rename those locations to be something a little bit more flexible. So with Uplifter LITE, we only allow you to have one facility, but there's nothing to say that you could say robotics lab east, saying that that's your east location, and you could create another location called robotics lab west to identify as your west location. Uplifter will only allow you to add one address, but at least you'll be able to define which of those locations are available so people know where it is that they need to attend those classes. Once you've created your facilities and locations, another thing that I would highly recommend you do is take a look at the categories. So let's go under settings and categories. If you remember back on the program page, you were able to select a category and a number of category levels. This is where you're actually going to be able to define those. So take a look at your organization, figure out what type of elements it is that you want to, how you organize your programming. You probably have some different categories already set up or determined within your own brochure. You can add as many categories as you like. It's very easy to just click add category. Give it a name. Every category must have at least one category level. So it's going to ask you for your category name and your category level right off the bat. So you'll see here that I've created 3 different categories, one for camps and PA days. And within camps and PA days, I have separate category levels for camps and one for PA days. Here I have a category for Lego robotics, and here I have a category for programming. Once you've actually defined these, what you can now do is within each of these category levels, you can now define prerequisites that would prevent people from being able to register. So let's take a look at what I've done here. So on the Lego We Do Beginner, this is a category level that I've created that I need my participants to be at least 3 years old, but no older than 6 years old. So what I've done is I've applied a minimum and a maximum age prerequisite. You can do that by clicking on the tools icon and clicking Add Requirement. From here, you can define the type of requirements that you would like. We allow for minimum age, maximum age, and gender with Uplifter LITE. If you're looking for something a little bit more flexible, we do have more options within our other Uplifter plans. But for Uplifter LITE, we know that the majority of organizations are really just trying to figure out, we just want kids of a certain age to be allowed in these classes. So we've minimized the options here. So here you're able to select min age, max age, or gender as your prerequisite. Typically, it's a very simple process of knowing that this person needs to be at least 3 years old. But let's say you run some younger programs. Let's say you're running toddler programs. You might want to check your age by month. So very often you might want to do something like, I want to make sure that my participants are at least 18 months old. So you would do it by just clicking check by month. Once you've added your requirements, you can then define how many of them are required before they're allowed to register and what actually happens as part of the registration process. So just going back to your requirement group, if you click on the tools and you say edit requirement group, you can actually set up the system so that it either just warns the participant to let them, or warns the member to let them know, we advise you should meet these prerequisites before you register. It's just a bit of a wake-up call so that the parent might realize, oh, you know what, you're right. I didn't mean to register for the preschool program. I meant to register for the school age program. But let's say you have some hard caps. Maybe it's an insurance requirement or a club requirement that you don't want people adding those elements to cart unless they actually meet all of the requirements of that group. So you'll want to select prevent adding to cart. Use that so that people won't be able to proceed with adding the element to their cart unless they've met all of the prerequisites. And as well, we also offer you to prevent checkout. Let's say this is a soft requirement where just don't want them to be able to check out because they might need other elements that they need to comply to. You're probably not going to use this option with Uplifter LITE. You'll probably just be using either warn only or prevent adding to cart. We offer prevent checkout for situations such as with our other plans. Let's say you don't want somebody to register for program A unless they have actually completed program B or have also added these other items to their cart. And that would mean that they could add this one, but they just have to go and add the other items to their cart before they're able to move forward. What you can also do is define whether or not all of your prerequisites are required or just some of them. So for example, you might want to set it up where you don't care whether or not they meet both the age requirements, they must meet at least one of them. And if you want to do that, you just select that to one. With Uplifter LITE, given that you're only setting up prerequisites for ages and genders, you're probably going to be selecting all. So that's how you create categories, category levels, and the prerequisites within those. The other thing that you can also do is you can actually define the display view. So this display view will determine what order these categories will actually appear on your public registration site. And it's just a matter of drag and drop. So let's say, and you can change this whenever you would like. So let's say it's a heavy camp time. So we want to make sure camps and PA days are at the top. But let's say at the beginning of the year, you want to actually focus on actually having your robotics programs and your programming programs at the top of the list. So you just drag that down. And once you've done that on the public registration pages, it will reorder your categories based on the category ordering that we defined on that page. Now that we've looked at programs, categories, category levels, requirements, let's take a look at seasons. Under products and classes, you can go down to seasons. Now, seasons will help you as an organization organize some of your data within Uplifter, both for pulling reports and then as well to organize communications that you might have with your members and as well to organize the different programs that you have. So typically we suggest that your seasons be, defined whether it be for the year or maybe you might have even more granular seasons like a spring season, a fall season, a winter, summer season. You can certainly spread it out that way. In this case, I've gone with a very simple setup of just using a 2019-2020 season that pretty much mimics the school year. So and that's how a lot of our organizations will work, but you can certainly define these seasons however it is that you like. You'll want to define a start date of the season, an end date of the season, and then as well an age cutoff date. This age cutoff date, this will be set as a default for any of the programs that you actually create underneath this season. You can then have the granularity of setting a specific age cutoff date for each of the programs, like I showed you when we set up that initial program. But to save you from having to do it each time, you can just set it at the season level. From there, what you'll do is you'll define any of the holidays that you want Uplifter to automatically skip any classes for. And maybe you are open for these days. If you're open for these days, you can certainly not add them, but I've added all of the different holidays for the year. As well, you can also set what we call exception days. Let's say it's not a holiday, but you know that there's, a 3-hour period on one day where one of your robotics labs are going to be down for maintenance. So you can certainly set that up. Once you've set that up, any of the classes that take part in that location between those time periods will be skipped over when creating your class lists. And finally, what you can also do is you can identify what we call season event days. Now, these are just dates and times that you might want to put in your club calendar. This will allow you to, when your parents actually log in and they are seeing their member accounts and they see their personal calendars, they'll be able to see these dates within the calendar. And it's a great way for your parents to be able to log in and see the different things that might be important to your club. So whether it be competitions or club events, barbecues, socials, report card day, parent day, those types of things, you can certainly put them in the calendar so the parents will see them when they actually log into their member accounts. So that is a season. Now, the other thing that you are also able to do within Uplifter is actually set up what we call products and subscriptions for sale. So under products and classes, if you select products and subscriptions, you'll see a menu here very similar to the program management menu. But now we'll be able to create elements for sale that don't necessarily tie into a specific time or date or schedule or class schedule. So let's show you a few examples of the different things that you can create. So very basic, you can create a product for sale. So here I've created a quick Lego education kit that you might want to sell as a club. So let's say you've got club apparel. You can certainly add jackets, pants, whatever it is that you'd like. You can add those for sale so that people can come online, buy them within your site, and then come in, pick them up at your organization. When you create your product, very similar to the program edit page, we have a product status. We also have a SKU. You'll have to create a summary and a description. And then you'll have some other options, primarily price and how much it is that you're actually going to charge for this product, and whether or not you can pay by installments. Let's dive into one of the subscriptions that I've created, which is one of the more robust ways to actually collect payments from your members in different methods. So let's say you're a club that has an annual membership, whether it's because you belong to a larger governing body that you need to collect some money for and then remit back to your governing body. You can certainly create what we call a subscription. Very quickly, you can click Add New, but I'm going to edit the subscription to show you how I've already created the subscription. This is an annual membership, so if you're like a gymnastics club, a skating club, a martial arts club, and you need to charge your members, you know, a $50 fee that you're going to push up to your provincial or national organization, you can create your annual membership, provide a summary, a description. You're going to apply this subscription to participants specifically. And then what you're going to do is you're also going to select the button that says, or the checkbox that says, this product is a subscription. You want the subscription to have a start and end date. Typically, this will align with the season for which you're actually collecting the membership. And what this will do is if somebody has actually purchased the subscription once within the start date and the end date, if they sign up for another program that falls within those dates, they will not be charged the subscription again. So this allows you to make sure that you don't get duplicate subscriptions, that you're only charging that annual membership once a year. If it's a monthly membership, once a month, however it is that you actually want to define that. You can create a start and end date on the subscription, or you can set up an effective duration. Let's say it's a membership that renews every 30 days. I'll show you how to do that in a moment. From here, I've also made this subscription to be mandatory so that regardless of what happens when the person checks out, it'll automatically add this membership to the checkout process. And then I've also said enable registration checkout filters, and this will apply to any class. So anybody who comes to register for a class will automatically be charged this $50 membership fee that I've charged for the year. If they just come and purchase a product, they would not automatically be charged this fee. So I've set this up. You can also, again, as I mentioned, you can set up installment payments. Most clubs typically want their membership fees up front because it's a hard cost that they do have to incur. So they typically don't enable installment payments. Again, this is part of the flexibility of Uplifter where you're not required to set up installment payments for the total of the invoice. You can pick and choose which elements you want to collect your money for right away and which elements you do or want to allow for installments. So typically for most clubs, they'll probably not enable installments on their membership fees of this type. So this is how you actually create a membership fee that automatically gets added to your registration. Now let's take a look at a couple of other fees that you might want to add especially if you're a small club, you're very cost conscious, or you have a couple of different models of collecting money from your members. So here's one where I've created a 3% payment processing fee. Now, if you have online registration, you're going to take online credit card fees. You know that your credit card fees are your credit card merchant providers are going to charge you a fee to process credit cards, and you want to offset some of those fees. So if you'd like to add a 3% payment processing fee that automatically takes the total of the invoice, calculates what 3% is to cover off any of the fees that you might have that it's associated to taking that online processing, you can set up this fee. You'll see here that I've created this to be a subscription. It's a mandatory subscription. I've actually provided no duration for the subscription, which means it will be charged every single time somebody checks out. Instead of actually putting an amount that I'm going to specify for the cost of the subscription, I specified that this is going to be a 3% fee, and you can make that fee to be whatever it is that you would like, and it'll automatically calculate that fee on your invoice as registration completes. So that's one way to offset some of the costs of online credit card processing. Another thing that you can do is you can also set up what we call recurring subscriptions within Uplifter. So in this case, I've got here a preferred robotics club membership. So let's say you want to entice people to pay a monthly fee that automatically comes off their credit card each month if they pay for preferred membership. I know there's a lot of organizations that just charge a monthly membership and provide unlimited access or limited access based on the type of membership that they've purchased. So again, same type of setup where you're going to create a product. We're going to set it up as a subscription. You'll want to make sure that you've applied this to the participant. In the case of a participant membership, nothing saying that you can't create like a family membership as well. If you do, you just say apply to account. But in this case, I've created a participant membership. And what we're going to do is instead of selecting specific start and end dates, under effective duration, I'm going to say that this membership will expire on the last day of this month. So what will happen is this membership will automatically get added to the cart, and then at the end of the month, it's going to expire. And because we've actually set this up to be what's called a recurring subscription, at the end of the month, Uplifter will automatically generate a new invoice for the member for the following month, which will then again expire at the end of that month. This allows you to create a monthly membership that automatically gets charged to the member. You can set an initial fee and then as well a recurring fee that would be charged every month. And a few different elements in terms of how to actually customize that recurring subscription. So those are a couple of the different things that you can actually create for sale within Uplifter. Lots of different product and program models that you can actually create online transactions for. What we're now going to dive into is policies. So very often as part of your checkout process, you might want your clubs to accept particular policies of your organization before proceeding with their checkout. So under settings and policies, you'll see all the policies that you have here available as a club. So very easily click add new policy. From here, you can define the name of the policy, whether or not you want to require that to be accepted as part of the completion of an invoice. You can copy in all of your policy details. Let's say you might even have some files that you want to download. You can certainly upload them here and have them available for download. And then as well, you can specify when this policy is actually displayed. Very often with most of our smaller clubs, you won't need to link it to anything, which means it'll appear all the time. But let's say you have one policy specific for your programming class, where you have a specific use of electronic devices, and you want to make sure that anybody who's taking the programming class knows the rules that you have about using the equipment within your organization. So you can certainly link that to a category, and anybody who registers for a program within that category will be presented with this policy, but not people who actually just sign up for a camp or a PA day. So you have lots of different elements in terms of how to link your policies and other elements within Uplifter. And wherever you see these little help icons within Uplifter, you can use that to get more information from our Learning Center about the element in question. So keep in mind that as you're navigating through your Uplifter site, look for that help icon. And as well, on a lot of our pages, you'll also see this icon, which takes you to the Learning Center article about the whole topic of the element that you're actually working with. And as well, if you want to just get to our Learning Center, certainly click on the question mark in the top right-hand corner. Or as well, we also have the help icon here in the bottom right corner that automatically brings up the different Learning Center articles that are available. So if you're just trying to figure out how to perform a refund, you can type refund, and it'll bring you all the different articles that actually have information regarding refunds. So very handy here. So we've gone through programs, seasons, categories, category levels, products, policies, how to add administrators to your site. So let's see how that all works together. So let's go to our public site here. I've clicked on Townsville Robotics, and here is my public registration site. You'll see all the different programs I have available for registration. Let's actually, and you'll also see this is the beta one that we created just earlier. I'm going to register and add one of these items to my cart. I'm going to add Richard to my to this class here. He's probably a little bit old. Yes, no, I should have picked something, of course, something a little bit more. He's a programmer. So let's put him in the advanced C. You'll also notice here that I've added a custom field. We have lots of different articles and other videos available to show you how to actually create custom fields as part of your registration process. Click add. It's added it to my cart. Once I click View Cart, you'll see here the class that I've added. You'll see the 3% processing fee that we set up under the products and subscriptions, the annual membership fee that automatically got added to my registration. I have the option to actually pay by installments or pay in full. So you can certainly select that as part of your registration process. You'll go through the billing information. You'll see the 2 waivers that we created. You'll see that I'm not able to proceed unless I've actually opened up the waiver and taken a look at this one. So I can reject this one, but this one, because there's a little red asterisk beside it, it's not going to let me proceed unless I actually accept this one. From here, I'm able to click on payment information and enter my credit card in order to proceed with registration. Once I've done that, I will see a registration receipt, which is also then emailed to the member. You can also set up Uplifter so your administrators are able to actually receive a copy of those administrative invoices as well. So that's how all of those pieces fit together. Now, one of the questions you might also have is, well, I'm a small club and we get a lot of in-person registrations, or I get a lot of registration paper forms that I need to actually get into the classes as well. You can certainly do that with Uplifter very easily. So once you've received that paper registration, or if you've got somebody that has come to you in person at your organization, what you'll want to do is go to your site, under your name, go to admin. Under admin, if they are a current member in your club, you can certainly find them under people accounts and member accounts. And you can just click on this little add button beside the member. So you can certainly search for the member by their name, maybe by their participant name, and click add to create an invoice to begin registering them for a class. Let's say it's somebody who's brand new, who's walked into your club. You can certainly go to accounting, invoices, and click on the little plus sign right here. From here, once you've clicked the plus sign, you can actually create the new member by adding all of their member information here. But for this case, let's just select somebody who's already a member of our club. From here, we've got our invoice. Let's find our class. So let's add them to quick search. Let's go camp. Let's add Jackson to the Lego camp. You can calculate. It'll automatically add any of the fees that you would also like to add to this registration. And then you as an administrator can say select payment and payment method and post. Once you've gotten to this page, you're now able to say, oh, they're coming in, they're giving me cash in hand. I don't need to actually charge that 3% processing fee because I'm not going to get charged the credit card fees. So you can remove that from the invoice. Let's say you want to give them a bit of an adjustment to the membership because it's the middle of the month. And let's say we want to give them a prorated or a middle of the year and you want to give them prorated annual membership. And you want to add an adjustment to give them $25 off, so that we only charge them $25 for the membership. And here you'll see that I'm able to actually process a payment. Let's say for some reason they forgot their checkbook and they're going to bring you a check tomorrow, and you want to still record them in the class but keep track of this. You can certainly leave the payment here as a check payment, and it will be pending, which means that it hasn't actually hit your books. Click post, and you'll be able to proceed. If, however, they have actually given you the check or the cash in hand, you can say, I'd like to process that payment, and they've given me cash in hand. Add a note in the cash box, and click accept, and click post. So here I have a completed registration in person, all the robustness that you see within Uplifter, but used on the administrative side, not just for online registration. So we've covered a lot of ground today, shown you how to create a program so you can get ready for online registrations, shown you how to actually configure that program using locations, categories, category levels, created products and subscriptions, policies, and shown you how to actually create a administrative invoice as well. If you have any questions as you go through your Uplifter journey, figuring out how to make Uplifter LITE work with your club, please let us know. You can contact us at support@uplifterinc.com. You can catch us here as well through our Learning Center. All of our knowledge articles are very robust and walk you through all the different elements of Uplifter. And as well, you should be able to leave a message with us here. So if you were typing and you can't find the information that you need, click on leave us a message and it'll send us a message to our support queue. Our team is waiting to help you out as you need so that you can actually get up and running with Uplifter. So that is a quick tour of Uplifter LITE and how to get up and running. If you have any questions, again, support@uplifterinc.com. Thanks for joining me.